I work on a cruise ship and there's a lot of expectations that people have about this lifestyle. These preconceived notions stem from things such as TV, movies, social media, or maybe you've just been on a cruise and you've made some guesses along the way. So today I'm going to be showing you guys the reality of what it's really like working on board a cruise ship. Let's go!
I'm gonna get fired if that gets put on, so.
Expectation number one is traveling. There is a huge expectation that when you work on cruise ships that you are going to be able to travel the world. Why did you want to work on cruise ships?
I want to travel the world.
Travel? My favorite place was Bali.
My favorite place is Mediterranean and Asia.
When I got my first contract, there were so many places on my itinerary I could not wait to visit, but the reality is not quite what I expected. The truth is that yes, when you work on a cruise ship, it does become easier than ever to travel to different countries. Ever since I started cruising just last year, I've now been to over 40 ports across 16 new countries around the world. We are in Mykonos, Montenegro, Portofino, Rhodes, Greece, and France because we're in an amazing location today. But as a crew member, the traveling may not be quite as glamorous as you'd expect. First of all, the guests come first. There are some times where the crew has to wait a little while before cruise shore leave is granted, and sometimes this can be a little frustrating. Personally, this is why I like to sign up for shore excursions, which are free for the crew, because this is the only time you can actually get off really early in the morning at the same time as the guests. Yay! We're here! Secondly, you can get in big trouble if you miss the all aboard time. Have you ever missed all aboard time?
I haven't, but I've been close. I've been real close.
The crew all aboard time is often earlier than the all aboard time for the guests, and you can actually get fired for something like this. Have you ever missed all aboard time?
No. They'll send you home for sure.
Yeah, not ideal. And lastly, of course, work comes first. So if you happen to be scheduled on a day you were hoping to get off, you are not going to be able to explore like you thought you would. And this is often the reality for most crew.
I've worked on a different cruise ship before. There, we have a lot of more time, but here, it's lessened.
Do you feel like you have more or less time than you thought to travel?
Oh, more. Oh my God, more. In terms of free time, my gosh.
I get off the ship a lot. If Saturday Night Fever is not happening on the ship, I'm essentially free to do whatever I want.
Because I'm in entertainment, I do get more time off than most other crew members, but some crew members never get time off in port.
Because it's 3 to 4 day cruise, I am always working. And if you know, as photographers, some of the nationalities are not allowed to go outside. Like I cannot step out into Fort Lauderdale. I can only work there.
We still can get out, but the itinerary right now, it's not good. Maybe next time, maybe I'll request the itinerary that I want.
There's an expectation that I hear all the time that crew members do not get paid well. Well, the reality might be a little bit different than what you'd expect. How do you feel about your pay?
I mean, I feel great about my pay.
Like anything else, of course, it does depend on your job. While some of the higher paying jobs are making over $10,000 per month, there are some that are only making a couple $100s per month. Maybe that sounds really low to you or even illegal, so let me explain. Every crew member makes their salary in US dollars, which means that the value of working on a cruise ship really comes down to what can you convert your money back to in your home country.
It depends where you come from. For me, I'm from India. What I make right now on board is what I would make in like 10 months or like even a year back home.
Wow.
Sometimes more than that.
How does the money here translate to currency at home?
Oh, totally different. Like 5 times back home.
That's amazing.
The money there is like for your living only. Just work like 12 hours, 14 hours a day.
Like anything, everything is all about relativity, and let me give you a personal example. When I was on land pursuing entertainment, it was a really tough lifestyle. I was waking up early to go to auditions every day. I had over 5 jobs at a time. Even when I did book a job, it only lasted a day or so and didn't pay very much often. So being here with a consistent salary, this is definitely worth it for me.
I do find that ships offer the most consistent pay. In terms of longevity, it does have the anxieties that once the contract is over, the money stops coming in.
You know, there's only so much you can spend your money on while you're on board.
Yeah, you would have to have some crazy habits there.
Serious crazy habits.
I think there's also a perception that anyone who would want to work on a cruise ship would enjoy it. And not gonna lie, I definitely do contribute to this perception. But today I'm gonna be sharing with you how I really feel. Believe it or not, I really do love working on ships. Like I mentioned earlier, doing this career on land is really tough. So for me personally, any cons of working on a ship are heavily outweighed by the pros. But I will tell you that in many ways I am an anomaly. This is a very tough environment and a lot of people do not feel the same way as me.
Oh, I'll be honest. I think that living and working on a cruise ship, it's like college at sea. There is a time and a place where college is lovely and it's great. Definitely you get to travel, you get to make a lot of money. The negatives is it's very hard to maintain relationships and it's difficult to get something going on land.
Yes, I do miss my family, so I vlog so that my granny can see what I'm doing, or she can understand what I did, where I went to.
Why do you continue to work on cruise ships?
Because I have a deep-seated fear that I'm not good enough to do anything else.
All of these elements together can really weigh heavily on crew members, and unfortunately we don't really have the resources of therapy while we're here on board. Which is why I'm excited to share with you guys today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Personally, I've been through some tough breakups since being on ships, and it's honestly really hard to not feel alone in these situations. No matter how happy someone is looking on the outside, at the end of the day, we all have our personal struggles and no one's life is perfect. Myself and everyone else goes through tough times, but BetterHelp is here to offer support. One of the many goals of BetterHelp is to make therapy as accessible and affordable for as many people as possible. So far, over 4 million people have used BetterHelp's services to help support happier and healthier lives, and the same can be done for you too. It is BetterHelp's mission to connect you with one of their 30,000 licensed therapists and ultimately to find a fit and a communication dynamic that works best for you. If you would like to check it out, you can click the link down below or go to betterhelp.com/wanderlustalley. By clicking on this link, you are helping to support me and this channel, but you are also given the opportunity to get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. You can see what it's all about, connect with the therapist, and ultimately see if BetterHelp is right for you. If you are looking for support, consider online therapy with BetterHelp by either clicking on the link below or going to betterhelp.com/wanderlustalley. An expectation that I hear all the time is that the cabins are really small, but are they really?
Yes, the cabins are small.
It's small. It's really small.
They're really small, they don't have windows.
It's totally small here, actually.
Prison cells have more space.
Well, the truth is, yes, they are extremely small.
Well, hello there, and welcome to my room. This is everything. The whole room is about 7 by 10 feet, and this is where I live for most of my year.
Gorgeous. Graydon is one of my best buds here on the ship. We spend a lot of time together, but not usually in here.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot of room to be in here.
They also do not typically have a porthole, which means that once you're in your room, you are in complete darkness. On top of that, the majority of crews share a cabin, which can make a space feel even smaller.
This is not just my room. So another person my size also lives in this space.
So when you come on board, you need to understand that you're sharing a lot of space with others.
I'm personally in a more unique situation where I have a little bit bigger of a cabin and I do not have a roommate, but that is not very normal for crew members. I did a full explanation of this as well as a cabin tour video a little while ago, so if you've missed that, make sure to check it out. But before you do, we're gonna be moving on to the next expectation. Next, I've heard that a lot of people expect that all of the crew parties and the back deck crew bar are wild. Have you been to any of the parties?
I'm old.
So I'm gonna be sharing with you guys what I've personally experienced. So this might surprise you, but because we were part of the restart crew coming back from the pandemic, there were so many rules and regulations. We didn't have our first crew party until about midway through the contract. And guys, let me confirm to you that this party actually was wild.
Don't stop, keep it moving, put your drinks up.
At the time, I had never seen any of my fellow crew members without masks. And it really was just so fun to come together and have a good time and kind of celebrate the start of a new chapter. It has now been about a year since that time, and my current contract, there are parties way more frequently.
Oh my god, they throw a party. There's always a crew event. There's always a drinking bingo moment. Do you know what I mean?
I think my favorite parties on the ships are the Halloween parties because everyone dresses up, everyone really gets into it. It's really cool to see like the creativity that like people come up with for their costumes because unless you go out and you buy stuff, you just have like bits and bobs and trash from around the ship that people build their costumes with.
Do you think the crew parties are good?
Crew party. Free booze, that's it. I mean, that's the thing.
There is the weird rules about alcohol intake. You need to be under, I think it works out to about 2 beer and you could be risking your job if you're caught over that amount.
They like hand drinks at you. Like we, the crew, take shifts giving out drinks.
It's this weird double standard in which they throw these parties.
Sometimes there's no guests and they throw these huge parties. Everyone went all out. They have a big like costume contest.
But also saying, hey, if you're caught with over 2 beer amount, we can fire you. So
There's never a quiet night on board a cruise ship.
I don't know. That's always in the back of my mind whenever I'm at a crew party.
I don't typically go back deck or to crew parties unless it's like a big event or a birthday for someone that I know really well. But I will say whenever I've gone, it's always been an amazing time. And one of my favorites was the Independence Day for the Philippines. There was a live band and everything. It was so awesome to be immersed in their culture and just enjoy with everybody. Although I don't personally find myself in these environments too frequently, I do think it's an amazing way to meet people, which brings me to my final point. I get asked about intimacy and dating on cruise ships all the time, and the expectation is that it's just a massive free-for-all.
Yeah, there is that expectation with that's what it's like on a cruise ship.
Well, let me tell you what it's like, and then I can share some of my own personal experiences with you as well. I would like to note that ships are a very expedited environment. If you enjoy someone's company, it is beyond tangible to spend so much time together and get to know each other. For example, when you go on a date on land, maybe you meet up on Friday night and you won't see each other until the next weekend or the weekend after. Meanwhile, on ships, you can get dinner together and then breakfast the next day, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So maybe on the outside looking in, it may look like the situation is a bit rushed, but you can just form relationships super quickly here, and a lot of people do find people that they end up getting married to. That doesn't mean that casual relationships aren't happening as well.
Like I mentioned earlier, I think ship life is like college at sea.
Dating on board is nice. When you sign on, you're together. When you sign off, that's the part that's difficult, that people don't understand.
I've only dated 3 people on ships. The second one was a ship relationship. We agreed on that. So when I left the ship, it had its time.
You have to control yourself. For me, if you're having a girlfriend, you're not having a girlfriend to just play around. If you are committed, you have to be committed.
But I know that other people, they have families at home and they have agreements going on where they get on a ship and they have ship wives, ship husbands. It comes down to like the values and standards of each individual. But if you want it, there is a lot of opportunity on a ship.
But I will say personally, I don't think it varies too much from what happens on land. I think that the major difference here is that the bar is as easy as a 4-minute walk from your house, and that just means it's simple to meet people. And on top of that, because we're in a confined environment, everyone just may seem to know about it. It's not very easy to hide something like that here. People only meet usually in one place, like back deck. And then everyone knows you, you see them talking, and you see them leave together.
It's a big ship, but the cruise actually, you get to know each other.
So you know each other, even if you don't know their names, you know, oh, okay, this is happening.
You'll be walking in crew areas and you know everybody. You're in a pressure cooker. In normal life, we wouldn't see what people are getting up to.
We don't have easy access to internet. Like, this is the news.
Oh yes, this is the news, yes.
As for my own personal experiences, I'm here to tell you that I'm actually a person who values committed relationships a bit more. Casual dynamic has never really been my vibe, and now especially I am in a relationship, so.
Let's see if we're in it.
Honestly, working here is such a unique environment, and I hope by watching this video, it has cleared up a couple expectations that you've had about working on a cruise ship. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video interesting or helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more adventures. See you next time. Bye.